In this video, we're going to talk about the power phase, part 3 of the stroke. So I've broken it up into 4 parts. There's the hinge, the catch, the power, and the release. We've already talked about the hinge and the catch. How we're applying power is we're thrusting our hips forward, causing the canoe to go forward. Thrusting our hips forward through our heels. You should be already up on your heels at the time that you're entering the catch. And you're using that momentum to then thrust your hips forward and go forward even faster. The most important part of the power phase of the stroke is the ability to leverage your back against your hips and thrust those hips forward as you sit up. Have you ever wondered how a skateboarder goes forward on a flat surface? There's no downhill, but yet he's able to go forward because he shifts his weight and thrusts his hip. So if you can learn to thrust your hips forward while you're paddling, you will go forward. In the power phase, I'm going to break it down into a sequence of steps. The sequence of steps will start at the beginning and work its way to the end. Most of the steps in the sequence will occur while you're sitting up. Power phase starts at the catch. So you've hinged forward, your arms is straight, your shoulder is rotated, quarter turn, upper thoracic turn. The first thing you want to do is stiffen your back. To do that, you'll hold your breath and clench your abs, your anus, and your thighs. This all helps support your back. As you sit up, use your back as a lever to shoot your hips forward and also unwinding your shoulders. So you'll be unwinding your shoulders and sitting up while shooting your hips forward through your heels, pushing the boat forward. Now, to get maximum power from your blade, you want that blade face straight up and down and perpendicular to the side of the canoe. So you don't want that blade face to have any angle on it as you apply power, because this allows the water to slip off the blade and allows your blade to travel through the water. You want that blade to be anchored in place, and as you apply power, you're pulling the canoe to your blade. In order to keep the blade face straight up and down and perpendicular to the canoe, as you unwind your shoulders and sit up, you want both your top hand and bottom hand to track at the same level until your bottom hand hits your knee. At that point, you want your bottom hand to continue on its same track, which means you're going to have to bend your elbow, and you're pushing at this point, pushing top hand down to the gunnel. But the bottom hand is still tracking in the same line. To say that again, both hands are tracking at the beginning. And you can keep both arms straight as you sit up and unwind your shoulders. And then when your bottom hand hits your knee, you'll be pushing with the top hand, bringing it down to the gunnel. And that ends the power phase. As your bottom hand hits your knee, you're pushing your top hand to the gunnel. Now this is where your blade changes angle. So your blade is straight up and down until you begin pushing with that top hand, and now your blade starts taking on an angle, getting ready for the release position until it gets all the way down to the gunnel. When your bottom hand hits your knee, maximum power is over at that point. Now you're going to be pushing the top hand down to the gunnel, and as that happens, the blade face is transitioning to give less and less forward power. And essentially what you're causing is the water to slip off the blade. So the blade is now going to transition through the water. It's no longer stuck in place. So as you begin angling, the blade is going to slip through the water now. You're no longer having the maximum power pushing the canoe forward, or the blade pushing against the water. It's now going to get less and less power. You're causing it to slip through the water now. So when you begin transitioning and you want your bottom hand to be on the same level, tracking back, do not pull up. Do not pull up while the blade is still in the water. If you pull up while the blade is still in the water, you're pulling the canoe down, which is going to slow your forward speed. So you begin slowing down because you're pulling up at the back end. So you want to allow your hand, your bottom hand, to transition on the same level until your top hand hits the gunnel. And then you begin entering the release phase, and that's the point that you'll begin lifting your blade out of the water. What I'm seeing a lot of is that people are not tracking their hands at along the same line. And in particular, the most important one is your bottom hand. You want to track that bottom hand on the same line as you sit up. But a lot of what's happening is that as people go in and they're pushing on their top hand, their bottom hand, you see it arc into the water, and it's arcing all the way until they sit up. That's not what we want. If that bottom hand starts arcing, what's the paddle doing? The paddle is arcing as well. We don't want the paddle to arc from beginning to end. We want that paddle to come back as we sit up with the blade face perpendicular to the hull and pushing the boat that way. Okay? The force is going against the water is this way, but we're pushing with our heels that way. You want to apply equal pressure to both hands as you sit up, because the top hand is just bracing the top of the paddle and the water is bracing the bottom of the paddle. So what you're doing as you're sitting up is you're pulling with that bottom hand without pulling like this. You're not pulling like this. You're merely sitting up. The act of sitting up is pulling that bottom hand. You want equal pressure on both hands as you're sitting up. If you exert more pressure on the bottom hand, you're going to torque the blade and create this angle. And what you want is that blade to remain straight up and down and perpendicular to the canoe as long as possible, which is when it hits your knee. Then you'll be breaking your arm, and you want that bottom hand to travel on the same track all the way through the power phase. Now you're applying maximum steady pressure during the power phase. So that pressure comes about from sitting up and shooting your hips towards your heels as you sit up. And you want a maximum steady pressure. You don't want to punch it at the beginning, because what that causes is a jerk in the boat. That jerking action will cause more resistance at that portion of the stroke. You want maximum steady pressure until your bottom hand hits your knee and your top hand begins pushing, changing the angle of your blade, getting ready for the release. As you sit up applying maximum steady pressure, you don't want to apply so much pressure that you tear the water and cause cavitation. Causing cavitation causes your blade to slip through the water, and your blade will be traveling towards the canoe instead of the canoe traveling towards the blade. Keep your back straight and your head up, and you're facing forward, and unhinge at your lower vertebrae. It's just a natural sitting up. As you're in the act of applying power, don't curl your back, don't arch your back, don't put your head down, don't hunch your shoulders, don't don't bob your head. You want to eliminate all excess motion. It's simply a matter of bracing your hand at the top, holding on with your bottom hand. You've got your bottom blade anchored in the water, and it's merely the act of sitting up, shooting your hips forward through your heels, pushing the canoe forward. I've been paddling now for 14 years, and I've found that for most of those 14 years, we've paddled with our foot position in sort of a sprinter stance. One foot forward on the side you're paddling on, and the other foot back underneath the seat. But I've learned in the past year, in order to support your back and to be more ergonomically correct, you want both feet forward. Now, what this does for you is it helps your back more because now you're stabilized with both feet. It allows you to use the torque that's developed from twisting forward as well as back. When you twist forward, you're pushing on one foot, and when you twist back, you're pushing on the other foot. And the other thing that it does is it eliminates excess motion from when you change sides. And that motion causes the boat to wobble, and you'll develop more friction because of it. In your foot position with both feet forward, you want it to be, your feet to be in a place that allows you maximum leverage with your back, shooting your hips forward. So it has to be a comfortable position. And as you work at it, you'll find that you'll be able to reach out more as you increase your core strength. So the foot position, both feet out front, and in a comfortable position, giving you maximum leverage with your back against your hips as you sit up. You want to synchronize your stroke with the person sitting directly in front of you. You want to look at what his tails are. Some people have a hard time rotating their shoulders, and they have a hard time with their hand, with their top hand, pushing it out straight. So you have to determine what the tells are for what position they're in. I've divided this stroke up into 4 parts because I wanted it to be easier for us to diagnose what the tells are for the person in front of us. So we're all practicing the 4 phases. It's the hinge, then the catch, then the power, and the release. So notice what the tells are on the person in front of you for those 4 parts of the stroke. And you want to mimic it. You want to mimic the person in front of you so you'll be in sync with them. In order to synchronize with the person in front of you, you want to put the blade in at the same time they do. And you want to take it out at the same time they do. Now the power phase is finished when your top hand hits the gunnel, and that signals the beginning of the release phase. And your bottom hand should be near to the level of your top hand. I wanted to say something about strengthening your core to help your back as you shoot your hips forward. So those people that start paddling and they're novices, they probably don't have a strong core. Most people I see in the sport that join, they want to get fit, and that's the whole purpose of joining. So in the beginning, you'll probably overstretch your back because your core is not built up to help it. So you've got to play this balance game of only reaching out so that your back feels good. You don't want your back to get hurt, like a herniated disc or something like that. So you have to judge how much you can lean, how much you can hinge and twist before that starts affecting your back in a bad way. The more you paddle, the stronger your core will get, and then you'll find that you can reach further. And also, if you do exercises to strengthen your core, to help your back, you'll be able to reach further. You'll be able to twist better, an upper thoracic twist. I really encourage you to do core exercises to help strengthen your back. And that will automatically improve your paddling because you could reach out further without affecting your back. And that's all I have to say about the power phase.